glad to have you joining me today. And if you're new here, my name is Bridget, and I'm so happy to have you. And if you're not new here, welcome back. I'm glad to have you here every week as always. So what my plans are for today, I just want to share with you what I do with filling bowls and baskets. And there's so many ways you can do that. And bowls and baskets are beautiful without anything in them. But then if you're a decorator that likes, more things like I do, I like to have something, a little something in my bowls and my baskets. So, a lot of people said, we want to see what do you put in bowls? How do you decorate with them? So I thought I would just kind of go around the house and share some of the things that I use. And the good thing about it is it's so seasonal. You can change what you have in your baskets and bowls for every season. So we'll just kind of talk a little bit about that. And I also wanted to thank Rhonda. Oh, and I got the sweetest package in the mail yesterday. This darling shirt that she sent me, and she sent me another one that was an army green color, and I'm sure I'll share that one with you too. But I usually don't talk about what I have on, but today I just had to thank you, Rhonda. I love this little shirt. You knew exactly what style I would like. It fits me perfect, and thank you so much, Rhonda. I really love it. Okay, so now let's just get busy. I think I'll just start right here in the kitchen. Okay, so here is what I have in the center of my kitchen table. It's just this is a really, really big wooden bowl. And I always kind of struggle with what to put on my kitchen table. So one thing you really can't go wrong with is a bowl full of some kind of fake fruit. Now I know everybody has their own opinions about fake fruit. Some people don't like it, some people do. These I just fell in love with. I was in Hobby Lobby yesterday, and I was actually getting some little clay pots to go in my carrier that I had bought in Ohio that I put on my table on the deck. I'll show that to you here in just a little bit. But while I was in there, in the aisle where the clay pots are, I turned around and there were these bags. Again, I was at Hobby Lobby, and these pears came in these bags. There were 6 of them in this bag, and they were $6.99 for 6. And I don't know if the light is going to show you really good what color these are, but they're a real brown. They're not really gold like the light is showing them. They're more brown. And I just want to give y'all a closer look. I know you can't tell in this video. I'm afraid it's going to look like these are gold. They're not gold. They're more of a brown color. And you'll see that if you get you some at Hobby Lobby. They're more brown. But I think they look so pretty in this bowl, because this bowl, I don't know if you can tell, but it is a really big bowl. And I actually, in this huge bowl, I got 4 bags of these to fill this bowl up. But if you just had a regular wooden bowl, 2, maybe 3 at the most would fill it up. But I just thought they were beautiful, and they'll work perfect. They work fine for right now during summer. And I think they'll be really pretty this fall with the color that they are. So that's kind of what I chose to put on my table right now in this bowl. You could do different things. I've had actually a topiary in this bowl, just sitting in the clay pot down inside this bowl. There's just so many different things that you can use in the kitchen. There's so many wooden, we have so many things that are woodenware, wooden rolling pins, wooden spoons. There's a lot of different things you could do, but I really like the looks of this fruit. So you guys check that out at Hobby Lobby. I love Hobby Lobby. I always end up finding something there I can use. So let's move on. Now this is another wooden bowl. It's more of a long wooden bowl. But in this bowl, I've just got 3 smaller wooden bowls. And some of these I have tried to age myself to make them look old. They're not actually old. And then this last one here, this one's not really old either. I mean, it's vintage, but it's not old. But when you line them up in your bowls and stack them up this way, you can't really tell that they're not old. So I kind of like having my bowls in there. I think those look pretty. And now this is a little wooden board that covers my sink. And in this bowl, just a really old primitive wooden bowl, I've just got some old rolling pins in here. And you can see these are just little wooden boards. Probably those I picked up at the Goodwill or a thrift store. And some of them kind of have that worn look. And if they're not, you can kind of age them yourself and make them look older. I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, you don't have to have everything just really old to get the look that you're after. So that's one way to fill a bowl in the kitchen. And before I leave the kitchen and head to another room, I gotta share this candle with you guys. Y'all, this is just mine. Nobody is paying me to do this. This is just my opinion. I ordered these candles. I ordered one for me and one for Mama. And they're called Black Label candles. And I'll give you guys a closer view of it. This one is called Butter Churn. And oh my goodness. Oh, it smells so good. They just have that. You know how you go into a primitive shop and it just puts you in the mood instantly. If they've got the good smells going that just smell like they belong with primitives, well, that's how this candle smells. So I absolutely love these. So I'm going to put that information on my screen and then I'll put it in the description box below. But you guys should check these out. They have smaller ones. This is the bigger one. They have smaller ones, but they've got all, and just the name of the candles. Like this one's called Butter Churn. There's some called, let's see, I'm trying, Hearth Bread. There's different, and just the names grab you. But these are really good candles. You won't be disappointed. They really do keep their smell. So that's something that you might want to check out. So now this isn't a bowl. This is a little Rye Basket. And in here, I have just got some candles. I think the candles, just single candles. Now these are candles that I bought at the Dollar Tree. They were emergency candles. They come in a box of, I think, 6 or 8. It's been a while since I've done these. But I actually just got they're just white emergency candles when you get them. And I actually dipped them in some wax. I think I rolled them in some crushed charcoal from the grill. And maybe a little, I can't remember if I used a nutmeg or, I think all I did was just roll them in some charcoal from the grill. And you can just see they kind of have just an old look. So that's one thing you could put in a Rye Basket, just some candles. Now I'm still in here in my little den. I have another Rye Basket here. And of course, you guys that have followed me know that how much I love Rye Baskets. But this is a really big one. This is a really huge one that I bought, I think, last year at the antique shows in Nashville. But what I have filled this one with is just wool, sheep's wool. And I have a lot of people ask me, I get so many questions. Where did you find the wool? How do you find it? So I've got some wool that is just loose wool that I put in baskets. And then I have some that hangs. I think I have it hanging on my fireplace mantle, maybe off of a cabinet door or a peg rack. But those are like hanging wool. I'm not sure what they call them. Maybe a shank, I'm not sure. But anyway, I just call it hanging wool. But to find this stuff, I'm just going to kind of give y'all an idea of where I got mine. The hanging wool pieces I bought from an antique show years ago, and I believe it was Walker Homestead, where it was the booth that I found that hanging wool in. And I actually bought it from one other booth. It's been a really long time ago, and I can't remember the name of the person that had it there, but I have actually seen it on eBay before, just a few times, but I have seen it. And I've actually made some myself. And if you want to buy just the wool, you can buy it on eBay. You have to type in search on eBay raw wool, but you want to make sure that you get the washed wool. You don't want it raw and not washed. So make sure you get the raw wool that's washed. And then I just, you don't have to buy enough to fill up a basket. You can cheat. Put you some brown paper, stuffed brown paper down in the bottom of your basket so it doesn't take very much wool to cover the top of it. And it looks like you have a big basket full. And there's just a closer look at this wool. But I think it just has such an old look when you fill that in your baskets. So that's kind of, I'm sure y'all have seen this before. This is kind of one of my go-tos. I love the wool because back then they had to, use wool to spin on their spinning wheels, and they had flax that they used on their, to make different things out of. So I really love all that kind of stuff. I guess I like textiles. So I know to make those textiles, they had to have all this stuff. So that's another option for filling a basket. So now I'm in my living room, and this is the table that sits in front of my fireplace. And in this is another Rye Basket. And in this, I have flax. I was telling you a minute ago that I like the flax and the wool. Well, this is just a big thing of flax. that I have down in this bowl. And I don't know, I think the flax and the rye basket just goes good together. I like that look. Now here's a wooden bowl that I've just got filled with stone fruit. And I know a lot of you have stone fruit, and I've kind of gone back and forth with what to put it in. Do I want to put it in a piece of pewter, or I don't know. I've tried it many different places, and I kind of think it looks pretty just in a wooden bowl. So that's another option for bowl fillers. And I'm still in my living room, and I'm on the table that sits in front of my little red couch. And on this table, I've got a couple of clay pipes. And I thought, if you got clay pipes, you need a little bowl of some tobacco twists. So these are just some little tobacco twists. Can't even remember where I bought those. And I've just got them in just a little small wooden bowl. But I think they just kind of set off the clay pipes. Now in this rye basket, I've just got a little antique, just a little old pillow, tiny pillow that's made out of some antique coverlet. And then I've just got a piece. You can have a really torn piece of coverlet and you think, what am I going to do with that? Don't throw it away, or don't, hang on to it and just fold it up and tuck it in a little basket or a little bowl. Looks pretty inside a wooden bowl or a basket. So now I'm going down my hall, and you can see I've got stuff tucked in little baskets and bowls everywhere. In this little basket, I've just got some of my little pin keeps, some things that Mama made for me. Keep a thankful heart. She made that, and she made this with my little initial on it. And she made me this sweet little homespun heart. So in here, a lot of times I'll use my little bowls or my baskets, just for keepsakes, things that are special to you and you're not sure, where am I going to put that? And that way, if you kind of keep them all together, I don't know, I just kind of like them tucked away in a little basket or a bowl. And then I've got a bowl sitting right beside it, and all I have in here is more of my wool. And this is just in another rye basket. So just got the two of them sitting next to each other, and they just set up underneath this shelf. So now I'm at the very end of my hall. If you were to look down my hall, this would be the end of the hall. And I've got a little desk type thing sitting here. And in this little bowl, this bowl is just a little rye basket. And in here, I'm going to give you a closer up view. In this little bowl, this is another little thing that has a lot of my little things that are special to me, things that people have given me. I've just got a couple of, like they would make a powder horn out of. And then I've got an old leather, looks like not even sure what that is, but just really old leather. And these are things that friends have given me that I saved. And then one of my friends from a long time ago gave me this sweet little mirror. I've just got like a little collection of things that are special to me in here. This is even a little rock I have in here that my little Bonnie, my little granddaughter, found for me. And she loved this rock and she wanted to give it to me. So she wrote her name on it, Bonnie. And then you can tell I've dated the back of it. Back in 2020, March 15th. So this is just a little collection of things that are special to me that people have given me. Then I even have some little broken clay pipe pieces. I think those are really neat. And then I've got a little wooden heart that my friend Sandy Pursley gave me. Oops, dropped you, little heart. So this little bowl is just a lot of my little keepsakes. But they're all things that, that go with this style of decorating. And I'll put that back and arrange it back. But that's another way to, to share your little keepsakes and still, keep it looking like the style that you're going with. Okay, now I'm back here in my bedroom, and this bench, this Mammy's bench, sits at the end of my bed, at the foot of my bed. And I've got some little coverlet pillows on one end, and then I've just got this little basket that's filled with little bitty tiny, just little tiny pillows made from antique coverlets. And I know some of you probably aren't sewers. I think this would be easy to do. Save your scraps of coverlet if you have any really torn, things on coverlets. Maybe you got one that just to use it for projects. Save these little pieces, and you could probably just do, I think you can even buy some stuff that like a little glue tape or something where you could glue these together, then turn them wrong side out and stuff them with your that polyester stuffing. Now I know how to sew, so I just whip up a little, all different sizes. We've got rectangles, tiny little squares, whatever size your scrap allows for. And then I just fill these little baskets full of all these different little size little coverlet pillows. And I've got some of those in the blue, like I have right here, which, I think the blue looks good in here in my bedroom because I've got the blue and the red in here. And this is a basket that I had sitting on another table in here in the bedroom. And these are all little pillows that are made out of an old red coverlet. And some of these, there went one. Some of these Mama has made for me, and they're little hearts. She gave them to me for Valentine's Day. I think it was last year. And I've got those inside of a little Rye Basket. So again, there's just nothing that screams primitive like baskets, whether it's a Rye Basket or just a little splint basket. Nothing screams primitive like little coverlet pillows or just the blue and the red mixed with the basket. To me, it's just beautiful. I love it. I think they're so pretty like that. So now I'm back here in my guest bedroom. And down here at the foot of this bed, I have got a spinning wheel. And if you're going to have a spinning wheel, you've got to have a big basket full of wool. So in this basket, you can tell this basket is huge. It is so big. So if I can let y'all see how big it is. I don't know if you can tell, but it is a really, really big basket. And it's not completely full of this wool because I think I've got, like I said, I've stuffed it with some brown paper so it doesn't take as much wool. And then I've got this old, I guess it would be like an old loom. And I've just kind of laid that in my basket. And that just really kind of, to me, sets off that spinning wheel. Because it looks like all we need is a little woman sitting in a little chair here spinning this wool on this spinning wheel. Now I'm still back here in this bedroom, and I'm going to show you, this is on top of a cabinet, but I'm going to show you what's in here. This basket, I think they told me this is a shaker basket. It's really flat. Now you can see that basket a little better. And in this basket, I've just got it's like a little stuffed strawberry, a brown strawberry. Of course, it has to be brown if we like it, and old looking. And then I've got just a little old spool with some old thread on it. And just I don't even know what you call that, just like a little rag ball. Not a rag ball, but they've made it out of some fabric. It's just got that kind of thing in here. There's another one. Just little things I've picked up along the way. And just some little heart things. I believe Mama made these for me. Just some little homespun hearts. But I think that those really... Now, like all these wooden bowls that we love so much, to me, they're just beautiful by themselves, displayed with nothing in them, setting on the table with nothing in them. Or then there's, to me, it's all about the details. It's just the little things that you add that are just interesting. People are like, oh, what is that in there? So here's a bowl with an old spool that has some old, looks almost like some yarn that somebody has wound around this old spool. Without the old yarn around it, it would be an old spool and it would still be pretty. But adding that little bit of a detail with the yarn around it, Just makes it look so much older. And then I've just got some flax. I've just laid it in there with some flax in this bowl. Okay guys, I'm going to end this video out here on my back deck. You know, a couple of weeks ago I bought this really pretty carrier, kind of this old greenish gray looking color. And I said when I found this, I thought, boy, I wished I had a whole lot of little clay pots to put in this. I wanted some old clay pots. Well, you know, you can't go out and just find old clay pots on demand like I wished you could. So my friend Susan Jenkins with the Old So-and-So, and guys, if you haven't watched her on YouTube, you have to watch her. She's a good friend of mine, and she's just a hoot. She's hilarious. She makes everything fun. She has a house just full of so many different things. Like, she loves primitives and vintage things, and she'll take you to thrift stores and estate sales. And anyway, you got to go watch her. She always is so uplifting to my day because her little laugh is just, I don't know, I just love Susan, and you will too. So make sure I'm going to put that information on my screen and in my description box. You guys go check her out. But anyway, Susan messaged me and she said, Bridget, I know where you can get all the clay pots that you need. I said, okay, where? She said, Hobby Lobby. And I'm thinking, then why didn't I think of that? That's perfect, Hobby Lobby. So I went the other day when I bought those pairs, and these little pots were 99 cents a piece, and they were just the right size to set down here in my little carrier. And I think I bought 15 is what I ended up getting. And so for $15, I was able to fill this little carrier. And like I said earlier, to me, the carrier was beautiful just by itself sitting here. But it's just all in the details. It's the little things that you add in that really grab your attention. So I love these little pots in here. And I thank you so much, Susan, for that little tip, reminding me you need to go to Hobby Lobby. So anyway, guys, I hope you all got maybe some little ideas to use in your bowls and baskets today. And I hope you all have a fun and wonderful and safe 4th of July. And I will see you guys in the next one.